South Carolina. Both teams know how sweet it is to be here, but one of these teams will be elite and will move on to Monday. The Sweet 16, presented by Coca-Cola. 2 games here in Sacramento today. 4 teams in action. Oklahoma will take South Carolina starting lineup. How important is Medina Okot?
I think she's really important. Medina Okot was not playing the same way in their meeting in January that she is now. She is impacted.
Crimson and Garnet battle in the Sweet 16. Medina Okot and Reagan Beers to start us off. Raven Johnson scoops it, and South Carolina's got the basketball. Taniah Latson, last year's leading scorer in the nation, transferred him from Florida State. Here she goes, looking at the basket, looking to score, and she does.
Tough shot right away. Going to Taniah Latson, having her attack the basket. You use Tessa Johnson as a floor spacer.
Reagan Beers at the top of the key.
And look at that defense right away. Raven Johnson, denial of Aaliyah Chavez.
Raven Johnson, I mean, that is one of her strengths. She is a defensive-minded player.
I loved it when we were talking to her yesterday, and she talked about how frustrated she gets when she gets scored on. She really takes it personal.
Steph, she said she gets angry,
yes,
not frustrated.
Well, she did say angry.
Tessa Johnson, an elite 3-point shooter, inside to Joyce Edwards, the stellar sophomore. And Reagan Beers with the rebound. Early on in this game, what do you expect the pace to be?
These are 2 of the fastest paced teams in the country. I expect it to be up and down, and in different ways. Oklahoma up and down, liking to shoot the 3. South Carolina up and down, liking to get to the rim.
Taniah Latson's gonna pop a 3. She brought her shot to Sacramento.
She sure did. A 29% 3-point shooter, lighting it up early.
Latson's got 5. She had 12 in the second round against USC. Almost halfway there. Zaya Van, the dish over to Sahara Williams in the short corner. That rattles out. Now, South Carolina, Don Saley talked about, look, we're not motivated by a loss last time we played Oklahoma. We're motivated because we want to advance in this tournament to the Elite 8.
Well, that's just a different mindset and championship mindset and a standard that South Carolina has. And I like it right away. Taniah Latson, aggressive on the offensive end, gets to the rim early, then feeling comfortable, knocking it down from 3.
When you heard Taniah Latson was going in the portal and then that she was going to South Carolina, what were your first thoughts about that move?
It's just a perfect fit. I mean, certainly she has the familiarity with Raven Johnson, those 2 playing together, but the opportunity to grow her game. She was a ball-dominant player at Florida State, now learning how to play with other players as Raven Johnson pushes tempo, and most importantly, continuing to grow on the defensive end, wanting to be challenged.
Is she a better pro prospect now?
I think she's a better pro prospect because of being in this system. And you see her numbers, certainly her scoring was up, but her ability to play with other great players, you didn't know, and now you do.
Joyce Edwards dishing it off to Raven Johnson up off the window, and South Carolina is out to a 7-0 lead.
Hand up.
Sahara Williams gets a paint touch. They got to get it to Reagan Beers in the paint.
You see Medina Okot really working to keep Reagan Beers from getting a touch. Activity level is going to be critical.
You mentioned it, Medina Okot looks like a totally different player than the last time back on January 22nd when she battled Beers.
She's playing with a different confidence level, her activity on both ends of the floor.
And Taniah Latson is going to be fouled. That's on Sahara Williams. It'll be her first. For Medina Okot, last 10 games, 14 points per game. She's averaging a double-double with 7 double-doubles during that span.
Well, you've seen her confidence just continue to grow, and that's one thing Don Staley talked about. She hadn't been challenged in the way that she's been challenged here at South Carolina. There were some inconsistencies early, learning how to play at a high level consistently, and she's playing her best basketball in these moments.
Okot is going to come out, and Miriam Dowda will check in for South Carolina. Latson bounces around the first inning.
And I don't think this is a surprise. I think a strategic substitution. Reagan Beers goes to the bench. Medina Okot goes to the bench. Try to keep that matchup as much as you can. Size and physicality.
One more coming. It was a 3-point shot, of course, that Latson was fouled on. She gets all 3. What a start for Taniah Latson. 8 of South Carolina's 10 points. Zaya Van trying to cook and gets finally Oklahoma on the board. Raven Johnson directing traffic. Gives it up to Latson.
And this is right here, an opportunity to get Joyce Edwards a touch. You really got to be focused on it, but she's got to continue to work. Raven Johnson bringing it back towards her.
Found a lane, snuck around Zida Van. Aaliyah Chavez. She was so big in overtime, dropped 15 points in overtime against South Carolina to help Oklahoma win. Yeah, 15 of their 19, and we heard Megan McEwen talking about it. She can be a microwave, there's no doubt about it. Tessa Johnson rejecting the screen. In trouble, and Sahara Williams scrapping on the floor for the basketball up ahead to Stewart. Too much. Oklahoma's going to keep the basketball. Oh, excuse me, South Carolina basketball. Reagan Beers back in the ballgame for Oklahoma. Yeah, and you can't have her out for too long. I think this is strategic substitutions, giving her in and out. You see Ocott comes off the bench, getting back to the scorer's table as well. In that first meeting, early on, Oklahoma made a specific effort to get Reagan Beers the basketball in the paint. I think they've got to continue to make those specific efforts. If you don't have those transition threes that they like to take, she's got to get a touch. Continue to put pressure on the interior. And I think the timing of when she gets it is really important. She does her work early. You got to hit her on time. You got to hit her on target. Let's see if they do that on the other end. Tessa Johnson with time here. Medina Ocott trying to post up on Beers. Ocott got to work her way back from underneath the basket. Got her own board. Beers almost had it. Raven to the paint, elevating. Rebound by Beers. That's really good defense. Playing in the two-man, forcing Raven Johnson to almost over-dribble into certain situations and make her play one-on-one. Oh, and Raven Johnson almost got it back. It's going to stay with Oklahoma. Well, I like the idea from Dawn Staley, using Ocott to go right at Reagan Beers. Best way to attack her on the defensive end, but that is just terrific one-on-one defense. Does a good job of getting her hand on the basketball. Oklahoma's offense gets a lot of attention, but their defense is one of the best that they've had since the 2015-16 season. Agatha McKeer is checked into the game. She passes up ahead to Joyce Edwards. Can't finish through the contact. McKeer. And a foul. It'll be Sooner basketball. Dead ball possession right now. You got to find a way to get Reagan Beers a touch. And you got to give Medina Ocott credit. Right now, her activity level is really good on the defensive end of the floor, but it's got to be multiple actions. You're not going to get it first pass in offense. South Carolina's too good defensively. Sorry, no foul called on that. Just a possession for Oklahoma. Tried to force the pass in traffic. Raven Johnson made him pay. McKeer stays on this end. Zaya Van almost had herself a steal. It's been South Carolina up an advantage early, 12-4. Chris, what'd you hear on the Oklahoma sideline?
Well, you guys talk about South Carolina's pace. That's exactly what Oklahoma would like to do on the offensive end. Jenny Bronchek telling her team, we're not in the business of hesitation. We got to move. We got to keep the basketball moving and use our pace to our advantage.
We'll see if they can do that. Change of possession. They also do not have a paint touch for Reagan Beers yet. Taniah Latson trying to hit Ocott on the roll. Here comes Raven Johnson. 5 seconds. Joyce Edwards. Ocott got the rebound. Turned right into a double team, and she traveled. That defense from Oklahoma showing up. Yeah, it's really good defense. And Peyton Verhulst was on Ocott that possession. Couldn't keep her off the boards, but a great job of Oklahoma of swarming once she got it. South Carolina now 0 for their last 5. But Oklahoma hasn't scored in over 2 minutes. And that's going to be an offensive foul. I think the screen on Reagan Beers. Yeah, that's Beers' first. That's not how you want to get your fouls if you're Reagan Beers. You certainly want to give her an opportunity to battle down low, but not on an illegal screen. Yeah, it is critical she stays out of foul trouble for Oklahoma. Reagan Beers taking it away from Latson. Peyton Verhulst will push. Taking the transition 3, rattles out. Beers coming in for the rebound. And there are her first points tonight. And her first touch in the paint comes off of an offensive rebound. I love the way Reagan Beers defended and then got down the floor to get that O-board. Medina Ocott looking for a 3. That's something they've added to her game.
Well, Dawn Staley said it's something that she's had. She just didn't find a comfort zone in it early.
Her 13th made three of the season for Medina Okot, a player that started basketball when she was 17 years old. Verhulst coming across the lane. Trying to work on Latson. Little fadeaway, leaves it short. Just off the fingertips of Joyce Edwards, and Keziah Lofton saved it for OU. Chavez looking for a triple.
Hey, that's what they want in transition. They want to push pace. They want to be able to knock it down from three. Aaliyah Chavez not showing any sign of nerves in her first Sweet 16 appearance.
Oh, of course not. A freshman who's averaging almost 19 points per game. Scramble on the forward possession arrow keeps us on this end with South Carolina.
I mean, it's so dangerous when you're a team like Oklahoma and can shoot the three in transition. Yes, you got to get matched up. There's a miscommunication defensively. There's nobody in the paint to be protecting. You got to find near man. You got to get out and defend the three.
Aaliyah Chavez was the number 3 overall recruit in this class, the National Player of the Year coming out of high school. She won the McDonald's three-point contest. Reagan Beers taking a seat for Oklahoma. Okot's got the size advantage on Sahara Williams. Tessa Johnson. There it is.
That's not the one I'd be digging off of right there.
No.
Going to dig. In the one-on-one matchup on the interior, you cannot leave Tessa Johnson.
She is 6th in the nation in three-point percentage. Chavez with a 2.
Nice cut.
Keziah Lofton cut into the basket, and Sahara Williams was the one to dump it to her. Maddie McDaniel's turn to operate for the Gamecocks. Eight seconds. Okot's gonna take it. Too much. Chavez looking, lobs it up to Verhulst, and turns it over.
Great one-on-one. Raven Johnson knew she had an advantage, didn't draw the defender, so she goes up and finishes. I think those are the threes in transition, the growth of Aaliyah Chavez. When they're a contested three, you don't have any rebounders down the floor, when you can get a ball reversal, when you start to sense the opponent's going on a run, that's going to be the growth edge for her.
Seconds here for Maddie McDaniel. We got McKeer. Bounces out. Okot's got her back. Kaya Smith was just hustling Raven Johnson. Standing there waiting. Chavez answers with a layup. You blink and Oklahoma can score.
That's right. That's right. And this is where you're going to see South Carolina. If they don't have it in transition, they're going to be real intentional about execution in the quarter court.
That's going to be an offensive foul against Medina Okot.
I think now's an opportunity to bring Reagan Beers back. Okot's out of the game. Dawn Staley left her in when Beers went to the bench. Maybe an opportunity to get her back in and take advantage.
She's still sitting over there on the Oklahoma bench as Okot takes that seat with 1 foul. Reagan Beers also with 1 foul.
Yeah, time and score.
It's OU's last shot to take if they want it. Chavez steps back and it gets touched by South Carolina. Almost had the scoop. And South Carolina's got a 10-point lead after 10 minutes in the Sweet 16.
It's got to be a priority. This cannot just be shooting three-point shots and her chasing down offensive rebounds.
Beers, just her 1 shot in this game was an offensive rebound putback. Now Chavez with the basketball, the ESPN National Freshman of the Year. She's got 7 points. And Brooklyn Stewart's going to throw it away. What have you liked on the South Carolina end so far?
They're just playing at the pace that they want to play at. When they have opportunities in transition, they're pushing it. When they don't, they're really forcing Oklahoma to defend. They're getting the best shot on the floor. Jenny Bronchek talked about those 50-50 balls. I feel like their activity has been really good, digging in, getting the hand on it. They just haven't been able to come away with it cleanly.
Reagan Beers and Peyton Verhulst will check into the game now. Beers with just 2 points, 1 shot attempt. She does have 3 rebounds. And Medina Okot not in the game for South Carolina. They've been playing that matchup a little bit. Zaya Van throws it away. Chavez tried to save it. A rematch from a game on January 22nd that went to overtime and saw Oklahoma end a 3-game losing streak and beat the #2 team in the nation at the time, South Carolina.
Well, I think a situation right now where Oklahoma just needs to settle in. It seems like there's a little bit of nerve. Jenny Bronchek got on her team yesterday in practice because she didn't feel the sense of urgency from them. South Carolina, they've been here. They understand the moment. And Taniah Latson stays hot.
Taniah Latson is 3 for 4 to start this game. Sahara Williams can't get the bucket to go. Beers poked it away for a second. We got McKeer in the corner. 5 threes to start this game for South Carolina.
A South Carolina team that averages 6 a ball game.
We just started the second quarter.
Yes, again, missed opportunity right there to get Reagan Beers a touch. I think that's one of those moments where she's really got to demand it.
Sahara Williams just out of her reach.
And I think that's 3. Wanted to prepare herself to be a better professional, and she's been able to do that in Dawn Staley's system, and it certainly helps when you have a comfort level with a point guard like Raven Johnson.
It's almost automatic. South Carolina has controlled this game from the start. They're on a 10-2 run. Johnson pulls it back out. McKeer. Get the screen from Edwards. 3 seconds for Agat McKeer. I mean, just saw the opening.
That's just a great take by Agat McKeer. She gets the advantage. She takes away the defender's space.
Reagan Beers with a touch. And around Joyce Edwards.
She cannot, got to find a way to get her touches.
4 points. 2 for 2 from the field for Reagan Beers, but she's had to create both of those. And Raven Johnson in the corner.
It is tough to play South Carolina when they're shooting the 3 like they are here this afternoon.
They have hit their game average in the second quarter. 6 threes by 5 different players.
And there you go, the first touch in the quarter court for Reagan Beers. Look, she had her way with South Carolina. I thought she was able to get touches. She was able to get the South Carolina bigs in foul trouble, and right away, right on cue, Okot at the scorer's table.
Raven Johnson likes that side of the floor right now.
She's on a mission. She is on a mission. She understands the magnitude of a game like this, how to be locked in.
Beers got the touch in the paint. Second opportunity here. Zaya Van weaving. And Van fouled by Maddie McDaniel.
I mean, Raven Johnson from the beginning of the game has been locked in. She's been aggressive on the offensive end. She has dictated tempo, does a great job of attacking, not over-penetrating. I love what she told us yesterday about the loss to Oklahoma in January. It reminded us of our standard. We cannot get complacent. You can't be so enthralled with what we've done that we take it for granted. We got to keep our good habits. It's contagious. And she said they felt disappointed in the locker room after that ball game. And boy, she's come out and set the tone.
Absolutely, a player that hit her 1,000th career point in their second round game in Columbia, but didn't want to talk about it. Was just locked in on the next one. She'll get a breather here. An All-American for the first time in her career. South Carolina on this side has hit its last 5 shots. Here's a turnover, though. Zaya Van transition 3. So Sahara Williams almost had it. She's fouled by Medina Okot. That's her second. So Alicia Tornaby is now at the table to check in for South Carolina. Player that joined the team mid-year from France. Sahara Williams, watch out if she gets going. I feel like she's the heartbeat of this Oklahoma team.
She really is, and she's such a difference maker. She's a connector, averaging almost 14 points a ball game the last 7. They need to find a way to get her going.
But before the last meeting with South Carolina pregame, Jenny Baranczyk sat down with Sahara Williams, and Sahara said, I feel like if we don't show up, if I don't show up, we're not good. And Jenny said, yeah, you're right. Do you want a different role? And she said, absolutely not.
I mean, she is. She's the heartbeat of what they do, and she's so important on both ends of the floor.
Brooklyn Stewart with the save. Chavez stepping into the 3. Tornaby's on the glass. Raven Johnson was waiting to check in at the scorer's table. She was standing up directing Maddie McDaniel on what to run.
That's your senior leader right there. Nice pass.
Tornaby's.
Great touch pass by Joyce Edwards.
And South Carolina ball as they can't get it to Verhulst.